I guess.
Okay, great. As long as you're enthusiastic about it, that's all that matters.
Welcome to part
guys.
2 of the Zinkberg interview. I can't wait to hear what he says
My
next.
You know what? Let's use that one. Let's use that.
You remember what we said about intensity? Yeah, it's coming back.
Sorry.
Okay,
Hi.
we're back.
Hi, everybody. We're back.
Hope everyone had a good week.
Yeah.
We've had a great
So
30
much
seconds.
has happened. Oh, this week has been so good. I had this thing. No, I didn't have anything. I've been standing right here.
It's been 2 minutes.
It's been 2
Standards
minutes.
are very high. So let's just jump into it. This episode's going to be a little bit more about Zinc and less about Zinkberg's channel. So let's talk about your dream job, Zinc. Like, it can be Minecraft if you'd like. It can be YouTube if you'd like. But I would like to have at least one perspective where it's Zinc's dream job other than YouTube. No education limit, no financial limit, nothing like that.
Okay, well, this actually ties into a question that someone asked in the Discord that I did see this question. So I can't remember who it is, and I feel bad that I'm not saying their name.
I can find it.
Yeah, can you find it?
Yeah.
It was, what did I want to be when I grew up, or
What do
what
you
was
wanna
my
be when you
first
grow up?
dream? Yeah. So when I was a very small little Zinkberg, a Zinkette, we might call it,
Okay.
I desperately wanted to be an astronaut. I really did. And I was adamant that I was going to do this. I was going to go into space. I, at that point, had people were giving, you know, when you give kids books and they hate it? Someone tried to make me hate them, I think, by giving me a space book, and I loved it. I read about this thing, the size of Saturn, the distance between the planets, and instantly something was tickled in my brain that hadn't been tickled ever before. This stuff that I had no idea about, this idea that it's called space because it's the distance between objects, right? There's nothing there. That's why it's called space. That sort of thing was just making my brain explode. And so I wanted to go. I wanted to be an astronaut. And when I was young, I would watch all of the space shuttle launchings. They would have them on Australian television. And I had this little... Black and white TV was not a thing back then, but I had a black and white television in my room. Someone had thrown it out on a curbside cleanup. Mum wouldn't let me have a TV in my room. So I found this thing, fixed it. I didn't know how to fix a TV. And, and got it working. And I would watch these things as I was getting ready for school or whatever it was. And I watched the Space Shuttle Challenger blow up.
Oh, gosh.
And I was devastated. I ran into my mum crying, and she was, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I don't want to be an astronaut anymore."
Oh.
And she said, "Why? What's wrong? Why? What's happened?" And I said, "The space shuttle's exploded. I don't want to do that anymore." And I actually said to her, I think I'll go and work in the bank with Dad.
Oh, wow.
And because it would just seem so terrifying to me that this thing that I loved and was passionate about and wanted to be could see the end of my life.
Right.
You know, these poor seven astronauts, and it was the first member of the public going into space. She died. The teacher, she died on that as the thing exploded on takeoff. And it terrified me. And so I instantly dropped all of that. It was instantaneous. I was not going to do that anymore. So my dream job, if it was safe, if I could somehow get up there without exploding, which would be really nice, would be an astronaut. I would love that beyond everything else. I even if they said it was a one-way trip, I would go.
Oh, wow.
I would go. Yeah, it's something that I am just enthralled with. I don't have that passion for anything else in my life other than that. So there's your answer with that one.
Yeah, that is
that
from...
question?
Yeah, that's from
Wifts
Wifts99.
99.
Thank you.
Ah, nice. Yeah, cool. Fantastic question. Thank you.
It was, yeah.
As for the dream thing, my first dream that I can remember was a nightmare, and I'd rather not bring it up.
Fair enough.
Fair. Okay.
There were shapes and noises. And I hated it.
It's also
I
fuzzy.
can't be here anymore.
Subconscious is kind of a violent thing if you think about it too much.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's just keep going with the Discord, fan Discord questions. If you guys want to be able to ask us questions, by the way, for our specific guests, we have a channel on the Craftworks fan Discord where you all can do that. And it's actually a lot of fun. You guys ask a lot of fun questions that we never would have thought of otherwise. So we're going to keep going with these as much as we can. If we run out, I'll go back to my questions, but mine are pretty boring. So we're going to start with these. That One Strange Apple asks, is he aware of how nice his voice sounds?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good gosh.
Please don't do that thing. Please don't do that ever again.
Yeah, you enjoyed that a little too much. Is that right, Lane?
Not at all.
I have been told, but I think it's just the Australian accent thing, right? It's not necessarily. Well, I don't know. No, I don't know. Yes, no, maybe. No. Yes.
Hard maybe. We'll say that.
Hard maybe. That's it.
And it could be. I mean, so where I work, we've actually got an Australian guy who comes in pretty frequently.
Lane, we're not talking about that Australian person. We're talking about.
Well, yes.
Sorry.
But,
Go on.
But it's interesting because he still has his Australian accent. But he's been here in the South long enough that he's also picked up a little bit of a Southern accent to go with it.
Oh, wow.
And it's definitely an accent. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah.
Well, I'll say that. We're very aware of how nice your voice sounds. E and I especially, because you've done some voice acting for us. And I think...
Yes, I have.
Oh, there's somebody... I don't know. Somebody might have asked... Oh, actually, I think it was in my stream that somebody mentioned it, but like your acting ability, which I know you can't confirm that you're a good actor, but some of us definitely can because of the way that you've helped us in some of our situations. So,
Okay.
can we talk about your acting experience?
We can. So I did musical theatre as a child. I have been in many musicals. And sorry, I just need to get.
No, we were actually getting some progress with that one.
No, I can't have them do that in front of me. I feel bad that they're just. And
You
I
would
could,
rather just murder
remove
it.
yeah, I could just remove the whole bank here so that they have somewhere else to swim, or I could just end them with my sword.
Gosh.
So I did. I think I am a very good actor. I think I am an extremely good actor.
Good.
Voice acting is a whole other thing.
True.
I
It
had
is.
never
It is.
touched any of that. And to be handed a script, like E sent me the script for the first one, and I was reading this thing and I was thinking, how do I even do this? How do I get it across without being able to express with my body, with my with my face? How am I going to get that across? And so it was a real learning experience, and she had to berate me and yell at me. She was violent, Izzy. You should have heard how rude she was. No, she was lovely, and she walked me through it, and she helped me out with it. And
She's
I
directed
think
high
I'm getting
schoolers.
better
I don't think you're much more of a challenge than that.
about the same mentality, yes. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I mean, she was great, and that really helped a lot. And doing the same thing, doing the thing with you, Izzy, was to have someone direct you and give you that bit of help. And I think I learned, one of the things that I've learned more recently is with voice acting, you're still there. So be there in character as you sit in front of the microphone. That really helps, rather than just reading the words on the screen and saying the thing. Like, yeah. So.
What I have found that helps is making the motions while you're doing it.
Yep.
Like using the hand
Definitely.
gestures, or
Yeah,
if
moving
you
your
need
hands.
to be like standing up looking angry, do that. You know, whatever helps you achieve it.
Yep. I follow one voice actor in particular. He's also a screenwriter and a director, and he's one of my favorite creators in general. I don't support everything he supports. His name is Alex Hirsch. He created the Gravity Falls series. If any of you know it, you know why it's so popular. But he claims that he's not a voice actor. He's specifically a writer and a director, but he plays a lot of his own characters. And one of the things that he does, specifically when he has to like cry or be sad in a scene, is he covers his face in water because he needs to sound wet. So it's like the strangest thing, but I've tried it and it works, and it's so weird that it works. And I also don't envy any of you actually having to voice act, specifically my scripts. There's a reason I don't voice act in my own lore series. It's just so uncomfortable.
Make the rest of us do your dirty work. Got it.
Yeah, right.
One thing I do really struggle with it, like with E's character Zion, for instance. So I had a voice in mind, and it was that deep, gravelly sort of voice. The problem I have is in my head, Zion is an Australian.
Yeah.
So that causes a problem because I am very Australian.
Really? I would have never guessed.
And so that's hard to think that this character is now an Australian, whatever he is.
Yeah.
You know, like
Whatever he is.
Yeah. It's so same with the characters in in your series, Izzy, and in his first season stuff. It was very hard to think, well, this person is going to stand out like a sore thumb because he's got an Australian accent, and that sort of takes you out of the thing. If I hear an Australian accent in a movie, I'm instantly taken out of the movie. It feels unreal to me.
Oh, strange.
To hear that. Yeah.
Why, is Australia not real?
Well, yeah, no, we are a figment of everybody's imagination here.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
And it's an imaginary world with gumdrop buttons and
Kangaroos and dingoes.
kangaroos
And drop bears.
Drop bears.
platypi.
Yeah, platypi, yeah.
It's so it's very strange. I do get that. I was watching a movie yesterday. It's horrible. I'm not going to mention it because it's a terrible movie.
Okay.
But they have an Australian in this movie, and every time she speaks, I think, oh, stop it. It sounds terrible. You just sounds awful because it's no longer acting. It's now just a person speaking naturally to me. That's what everybody sounds like, right? Like it's not, yeah. Where in fact they're acting really well because
they're being natural.
They're doing
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like a lot of that is because America has just saturated the entertainment industry so much that our
true.
accents are what
Absolutely.
makes it feel like a movie because that's what we're used to. But in
Yeah.
reality, it shouldn't be. That's one of the reasons I love the Marvel movies is because there's just such a diverse casting in those kinds of movies where
True.
the accents don't bother me. And again, most of them are American, and that's kind of what bothers me. But it just makes more sense for them to have all these different accents because they're coming from all over the world. And that's something that's still relatively new to us because it feels like if you're going to have accents from around the world, you need to be wherever that accent comes from. But
Sure.
now that we're in a world where we're like able to talk over the internet and stuff like that and be in situations like this where in Craftworks we've got people from all over the world, it's a little bit more common to hear those kinds of accents.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, it's one of those things. It's very hard as an Australian to hear someone like Margot Robbie in the role of, say, Harlequin, and hear her with an American accent, and thinking, no, don't do that. Don't. You're an Australian. Be proud, but you can't be proud and still get that role, right? You have to be American to get that role. Chris Hemsworth. I mean, he's not. He's pretty to look at. He doesn't need to speak. But all of these Australian accents, Russell Crowe, all of these people get in these American movies and then have to do American accents, and it's kind of interesting to watch this. You sort of forget that they speak like me. Yeah.
It is strange. We should do something about that.
Yeah. Everyone move to Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there
Great
we go.
idea.
I think that's the only way. All right.
We have plenty of room.
Plenty more drop bears where that came from.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a question here that I'm looking at that I have genuinely been curious about, and for whatever reason have never asked, and I want to know since he's here.
Is it the second one from Strange Apple?
It is.
Cool. That's what I was going to ask next. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the one Strange Apple asks how you came up with the name Zinc. Is it the metal or is it short for something?
Yes.
Evil laugh.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So back when the internet started, girls and boys, back in my day, we had lots of message boards. Message boards were the place, and they still are forums of today, if you like.
Mm-hmm. We don't use forums
and they
anymore,
were horrible places. Yeah, that's right. they were horrible places where everybody was mean to one another. And
Facebook,
at that
I get
time, yeah. At that time, except more anonymous.
Gotcha.
At that time, I was quite heavily into professional wrestling. Like I really enjoyed watching the professional wrestling.
Okay.
Right? And I went in there and I had some stupid name, right? And it would have been something Australian, and I can't even remember what it was. That was what I had called my persona, if you like. And I looked around and everyone had a take on a wrestler's name. Like there was one guy that was like, it was something like Bulk Hogan or something like that. You know, like everybody had taken a famous wrestler's name and changed it a little bit, and that was their persona. And I thought, well, I have to do this. I can't just be Bob. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I want to be like the other guys are, so I'll do that too. My favorite wrestler at that time was Goldberg.
Okay.
And he was a very intense guy who seemed to be more real than the rest of them. Like, he was taking it very real.
And
I thought, well, I can't be... Yeah, so I can't be Goldberg. I could be Silverberg, and I thought, well, that doesn't really ring off the tongue. What I need is something very Australian and something worthless. That's what I need. Now, I'll explain why. Because the opposite of Goldberg, right? Gold is a valuable metal. I want to appear to be a valueless metal, and I've got to think of a way to do that. In Australia, we have a sunscreen here that's called Zinc, and it's made of zinc. You plaster this thing on your face, and it's 3 millimeters thick, and it just sits there, and you see that classic Australian thing where they've got a floppy hat on and white sunscreen on their face. That stuff is called zinc. And so I thought, what is better than an Australian product that refers to a metal so worthless that we use it as sunscreen? So Zincberg was born, and that was the name. And I have used that throughout the internet. There have been other Zincbergs. I found them. Most of them appeared after, or in fact, all of them appeared after I did. But lots of them were people trying to troll me and things like that, created accounts and things. But I've been using that name for decades, and it's stuck. And I like it when people call me Zinc. It feels very normal. And Zinc as a persona is his own thing. There is a character that's within me that is Zincberg, and he even comes out in real life. And occasionally my partner calls me Zinc by mistake because she plays video games with me where I'm called Zincberg. So there you go.
That's so cool. I'm curious about that part. Lane, do you tie your name, Lane? Obviously you go by Lane IRL, but do you ever tie that to your character in Minecraft rather than your IRL self?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
I am me through and through.
That's interesting.
Everywhere I am, inside game, outside of game, you're getting all 2 brain cells.
I find that fascinating because I do the same thing that Zinc does.
I'm just laughing that it's a capacity problem for Lane. It's not a...
There's only room for one of me in my head.
Exactly.
That's right, yeah.
That's never been...
I don't have the external hard drive in my head to have a second one, okay?
Interesting.
Yeah, so Izzy, interesting. So you mentioned that there, that you, and I get that take, right? Now, in Empress Littlebit's video, and I defended myself again on the comment section of her video, we talked about the how I became friends, or you talked about how I became friends with Empress Littlebit. It was it was a legitimate intentional move on my behalf to I wanted to make E relax. And I wanted to know, so I have this thing that I find it very hard to befriend
Sorry.
to befriend that's all right. To befriend a character or a persona. I find that very hard. And I don't feel close to somebody until I feel that I have managed to see some form of a real person behind them. And when I'm serving people in the shop at work, if I say to them, "How are you?" I actually mean, "How are you?" I don't want someone to go, "Oh, better than nothing, mate." I don't want that response. I want, "How are you?" I love it when people say, "Oh, mate, I've had a hell of a week." And I say, "Really? What do you want to talk about it? Let's have a chat." Because now I feel like I'm getting a real person in front of me, someone that I want to be involved with. With E, at the beginning, I felt like I was getting a character every time that she came on, because she does sort of hiding behind a persona in a way. And so for me to bridge the age gap between me and E, which I had always thought was there, and to somehow bridge the energy level that she has, because I can't keep up. It is exhausting. I needed to see E. I needed her to drop the persona in some way. So by me being scared, I mean, think of what I did, right? This is proof in the pudding of what I did. So I made out that I was terrified that she was going to PvP me. Now, you two have both versed E in PvP. She's not a great PvPer.
I will confirm that. She's very gentle.
She is very gentle, right?
And she apologizes the whole time she's doing it.
That's right. So me being scared of her meant that she needed to drop the act. And she did. And it worked. And as soon as she did, I didn't tear down anybody's bridge. I did not tear down a thing. I stood behind her jokingly and said things like, as she would place a block, because she had said she was having trouble with it. She wanted some help, right? And I thought, I can build, I can help, I like bridges, I'll come over. So I came over and I stood behind her and did things like she would place down a stair and I'd go, you're going to place that stair there, are you?
Oh my
like
gosh.
That, right? And she goes, well, I was going to place that stair there. I'm not now. And that was how it began. That was how our friendship began, because I was making fun of E and sort of having a bit of fun with her. And we built that bridge together. She's not used to that. But since we've had many very real conversations, and I can tell you very honestly, and I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit emotional. I didn't expect that to happen.
That's okay.
Wow. I value E's friendship very highly, and Oda as well. And I mean, all of the guys here, I love everybody here so much, but E and Oda have really gone out of their way, and I value that so much, and so I consider her a very real friend, and I'm glad. I feel very, very blessed to have her and Oda and all of you guys again in my life. It really is something that has really kept me here when at times I didn't feel like I belonged. So yeah.
Well, I can confidently say that E feels the same. Depending on.
Yeah,
that's good.
But thank you for being so transparent about that, Zinc. That's really cool to hear.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
And that really ties into our conversation about making real friends over the internet, of all things.
Yeah. Is the next question going to be that one that guy asked about? Why am I so handsome? And
Oh
was that
yeah,
the
do you
next
want
one you're
to
gonna
do you
ask?
want to address that?
Oh,
Look, it's a natural thing that. Thank you, Zinkberg, for your question, by the way. It's
If you want to answer it, I
no,
will absolutely.
I don't want to.
I will absolutely keep it in.
There's nothing there. I have again, I have a personality, and I think that's part of it. I do love myself, absolutely, and I encourage all of you to love yourselves. Please love yourself. Everybody, like, and that was one of the things, and I'll go back to E again, that one of the things with E, from day one, I thought, why doesn't she have 5 million subscribers? Why isn't she huge? That multimedia series that she did, and she did it in her, I think, last episode, the last episode that I saw, of her Craftworks stuff with the law, where she does the drawings and fits them in and stuff. My God, go to her channel and subscribe now. Everybody on the internet should be subscribed to E.
agreed.
But I felt like, and this is a bit deep again, but I felt like the only thing holding E back was E. And she needed, I think she has it now much more. She just needed some confidence. And that's I think a generational thing. I think a lot of people these days are lacking in confidence because people don't go out as much. You don't go out with friends and things like that as much as people used to, because we're all online all the time. And people get very caught up, like myself, talking about themselves rather than talking about what other people's accomplishments are. And so I do have this thing deep down that I do have a love for myself. There are parts of Andrew that I really think is endearing. There are parts of Andrew that aren't so nice as well, but they're all parts of what makes me me. And so there you go. I don't think that I'm extremely attractive or handsome or anything like that. And I do smile and laugh whenever I hear people say that they think that I'm humble. When I first heard Cap say that I was the most humble man he'd ever met, he said to me in a conversation. And I thought, well, either you or I don't know what humble means because I don't think I have that right. But I think that's maybe just an upbringing thing of being taught to apologize to people. If you've hurt someone's feelings, apologize. Don't stick your feet in the ground. Apologize, get the thing fixed up so that you can get back onto loving one another, you know? That's important. We're all here for such a short time. There's no time to hate. Just love one another. It's so important.
I agree. And I will confirm, having seen you, you are a very handsome gentleman. So now somebody has said it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Photoshop.
Oh my gosh, it worked.
That's it.
Yeah, and having seen Lance's photo, we can now guarantee that he is quite a handsome man.
I love Lance.
I know, right?
I love Lance,
Lance.
almost as much as I love Lamp.
Almost. There it is.
There
it is. All right. Who asked that question? Now we know.
I think that was Ole.
Was it Ole? All right.
I think
there
it's
you
Ole.
go, Ole.
But it is singular. I did correct it's not lamps. It's
Yep,
one
it's
lamp,
lamp.
particular.
One lamp.
It's in the season 1 world. And it is a direct steal from Anchorman. It's not a Zinkberg thing.
We're going to make it a Zinkberg thing.
It's going to be a Zinkberg thing by the time it's done.
I love Lamp.
Okay. I'm going to grab a question that we can't possibly go too deep into this one, right? Right. Okay.
Right.
Mr. Curly 1379 wants to know, what's your favorite way to prepare grilled cheese?
Okay. All right. Now, I've given this great thought.
Okay.
Never
He's going to get deep. It's going to get deep.
I'm going to go deep. Here's my favorite way to make grilled cheese, right? Is grab some cheese. I don't know. Now, follow me here.
Okay.
Right? Grab the cheese. Put it down on the chopping board.
Okay, you've lost
Cut
me.
off a slice. Cut off a slice of cheese. Eat that slice of cheese. Now, put some bread down on the same chopping board. cut another slice of cheese and eat that as well. Eat not the bread, just eat the cheese.
Okay.
Then grab some ham, put that on the bread, and eat the ham with the bread, then eat some more cheese. That's my favourite way to make a grilled cheese sandwich.
There's no grill involved in that whatsoever. I
don't
am
particularly
here for
like.
it.
I much prefer the cheese when it's not cooked. The cheese is better when it's not cooked. So, and I would rather just eat the cheese, like, and a ham sandwich is delicious. And if you're a vegan, eat a ham sandwich. No, I don't mean to offend. It's a joke. Eat some salad. Eat a celery stick.
I may not even keep that in, but I think it's
We've
funny.
offended, yeah, right? Yeah. We're going to get comments.
Right.
We're going to get cancelled.
Yeah. I don't think you can get cancelled for having an opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion. I think that's important.
I think so too.
We're
getting
losing
too
that
deep
these
into
days.
the grilled cheese
We're
question.
going deep
All
into
right,
the grilled
we need to
cheese
move
sandwich.
on.
All right. Well, the other
Okay.
one, in relation to that, does Vegemite really taste good? The answer is yes. Vegemite is fantastic. Izzy, don't. Let me explain why.
I can't.
There is a way to make Vegemite taste good. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, but that's so then it doesn't taste good. But either does coffee. Put a
right.
spoonful of coffee in a baby's mouth, he's going to spit it out again. If you drank soy sauce, it would be horrible. So don't do that. Vegemite on toast, what you do is you cook the toast nice and hot, you put on a ton of butter, it has to melt into the toast, and then you very thinly spread that Vegemite on. It shouldn't coat the whole thing. It's like the hint of Vegemite, like the knife once touched Vegemite 3 years ago, and that's
We're taking the
so
LaCroix method here.
Yeah, it's a light smearing of it, and then it tastes fantastic. It's amazing. So there you go.
All right. Well,
Answer the question. Yes,
There we
Vegemite is
go.
good.
Okay.
I have it almost every day.
Okay, well, one that I'm interested to hear about is from Norm Plays, and he asks, out of all the builds you have done since you started playing Minecraft, which one are you
The
most
tower.
proud of? The tower? I knew you were going to go there.
the Rapunzel Tower.
It's the tower.
No, his single-player tower.
The dark tower.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that,
Sorry.
that dark tower goes from it literally goes from bedrock to build height. It is the whole way, and it is the most detailed build. There is so much detail on that, and when I was building it, that was when I thought, hang on, I'm good at this. This is something I can do. Like, I had built before and I'd had people make comments that I was good and things. But when I finished that thing, there's so much organic matter on it. There's so many little details. It's huge. It's practical. It just is so good, and it looks so menacing in that world. It is beautiful and everything, and it by far is my favorite build, by far. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to plug it because I have actually looked into this. So if none of you have seen Zinc single player content, you need to go check it out from start to finish, because some of those builds, actually most of those builds, every time I see them, it's just how the heck did this man have the patience to come up with and build this in survival? And it's like taken straight from Lord of the Rings. It is so cool looking. You all need to go check it out.
I feel like when I watched his videos on that tower specifically, I feel like I gave the same comment in every video, which was, how do you keep getting this better and better?
Yeah.
Mine was when you did the whole... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, go.
No, I was about to praise you, so hang on.
Oh.
Mine
Yes,
was when
please
you
go
built
ahead. Praise me.
the cathedral build, but like on a diagonal. What in the world? How? I couldn't do that straight.
No, Izzy, so here's the thing, the reason that exists, right? And I was really disappointed. Those videos did so poorly, and I thought, this is the most magnificent thing I've ever done. Like, look at this thing. It's huge and it's fantastic. But the problem with diagonal builds is when you try and do them, they look terrible because we try and do them house size. And there's not enough room. You just can't get the angle to look right because you're taking a meter across and then a meter back every time you want to take that trip of a meter. So when you bring that up to such a huge scale, I thought if I build a big diagonal build, then it should look better, and it does. It looks fantastic. But it's an extremely large build, and so that's why that diagonal thing exists. Is I just thought if I had more space, I think the diagonal thing would work, and it does.
I'm horrible at big builds, so that's props to you on many levels.
Thank you. And if you are going back to my first series and watching things, skip the first 10 episodes. Please. Please.
My first 10
It horrifies me when my first episode gets views and I think, oh, don't watch that, please. They very rarely make it to the second video.
I'd like to ask this one from LT Doxy, yes. Or I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce any of these names. You guys can correct me in the comments if you want. Whenever you start to get burnt out, either with video making, building, or anything, how do you refresh yourself to be able to keep doing what you're doing? Is it preventive, or do you take a break when you start to feel burnt out?
So I had never taken a break until about 3 months ago was the first time I took a break. I had released a video every single week for well over a year. And each one of those videos takes me about 30 hours. Considering gameplay and editing and all of the stuff. And I work a full-time job of about 38 hours a week. So I literally burnt myself out. I was exhausted. I was irrational. I was, some things happened and I needed to step away for a week. And then, unfortunately, it became much easier to step away for another week and another week and another week. What I would say is that I think Minecraft is one of those things where you don't have to burn out because you can do this. You can just stand on a shore and fish and look at the surroundings around you and think about things and maybe get some inspiration or you can just go on an adventure. We could just drop this right now and go for a walk in any direction and find something beautiful that has naturally occurred in the game. And I think that's one of the beauties of this game, that you don't have to burn out. The burnout is when you're doing the same thing every single week. You're trying to outdo yourself, build better, build bigger, and you get to a point where you're going to have to stop. You have to stop. So I think if it's how do you stop yourself from burning out, take a break before you do. That would be my answer. Just stop, step away, do something else, and then come back. The game will still be here.
Okay, I'm curious about this one. So this one comes from Andy, who asks, what kind of outlet is Minecraft to you? So creative, artistic, redstone, exploring. What's your take on the game?
Yeah, so probably exploring and building are my two biggest things. Redstone, I love redstone because redstone is that logical part of my brain again. And I've always been sort of standoffish with redstone. I know enough to get myself in trouble. And I sort of have a basic understanding of how things work. But not until recently, when I put down all the tutorials, have I really got into redstone. So I decided that what I was going to do from now on is I'm just going to work out how to make the thing rather than using someone's tutorial, because when you use a tutorial, you don't learn, you just copy. And same with builds. If you're taking someone else's build and just rebuilding it, then you're not learning really very much at all. You're better to say, well, how do I, looking at the Clue Mansion behind you guys, how do I do that thing on the corner there? How do I create a balloon that looks like that? All those sorts of things. I think with redstone, it's the same thing. But I think I am more an adventurer and a builder than anything else. I think that's my strongest point. Yeah.
Sorry, we're racing to the beds again. Okay. I think I won.
I love all aspects of the game. I love everything in the game.
The redstone thing, I can relate to that as a redstoner myself. That's how I initially learned, specifically on Bedrock, because I used to play pretty much all the time on my PS4. And that's how I taught myself redstone, was just placing blocks and trying things until it worked.
Yeah.
And then didn't realize how much easier it was until I swapped over to Java. But even then, that still carries over to what I do here. That's how I figure everything out. And it also translates over into the building as well. I'm a very hands-on person. If I don't actually do it, I'm not going to remember why it works or how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so my redstone, I think, is I call it long. Wait, no, I had a word for it. What is it when you longhand? Yeah, it's longhand redstone.
Oh.
So rather than having something that goes into something that then takes on the power of 15 blocks, I make the redstone travel 15 blocks so that I can see exactly what it's doing and understand what it's doing.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Yep. So keeping it simple, and yes, so the contraptions are big, but they make sense.
Yeah.
And you like building
They work,
big,
and that's
so
what
that
matters.
works. Yeah.
I do, yeah.
I just avoid it at all costs. That's my redstone experience. If it's more than 2 redstone dust, I can't do it. All right. So let's take a question from one of the crafters. So from E, if you were famous for anything other than Minecraft, what would it be? Would it be music related? Would you be an actor by now? What are we thinking?
It would have been music. Yeah. That was the dream. I played in front of 1,500 people on a number of occasions. I was in a band that was playing regularly, and it felt like the transition that should have happened, but never did. So I guess if I could be anything, it would have been that. A frontman for a band that was extremely popular, that still somewhere in the back of my head says that one day I'm going to be showing someone a guitar in the music shop, and he's going to say, "Hey, I'm the head of Sony. Here, have a record contract." Yeah.
I'm glad that those kinds of daydreams don't go away.
Yeah, they don't.
So a side note, and this is more out of general curiosity, but how did you get into music? Like, what was your exposure? What was your aha moment for it?
I could always sing. I was my family were very, my grandmother would love to sing, and she would encourage me to sing along. I was in school choirs when I was very young.
Wow.
So I was always a singer. When I was around about 12 or 13, I was a horrible human being. And my mother gave me a guitar to shut me up. And I didn't know how to play guitar, but being the person that I am, that I wanted to know how it worked, I shut myself in a room and I played a lot on this little out-of-tune nylon string horrible thing that wouldn't hold tune and all the rest of it. And I taught myself how to play. And I think the first time I was playing a song that's Leaving on a Jet Plane by John Denver, which was one of the 3-chord songs that I knew how to play at the time. And as I was playing it, my mother came in, she said, "I know that song." And I thought, I can play. And I couldn't really play, but that feeling of having the song recognized made me want to do it more and more. And then it just felt like a natural progression to get into a band and play. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. I can relate to that on a personal level. For me, that moment of recognition with a song was actually probably the first thing I learned with Sunshine of Your Love by Cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that in the bedroom. My dad walked in and he was like, "Huh, you don't sound half bad."
That was me with drawing. Whenever my parents could be like, "Oh my gosh, is that this place?" I'm like, "I've done it. This is it.
Yeah,
this is what I meant to do."
Yeah.
So this is from me. Are there any other art forms that you really admire that inspire you?
Oh, artists, you and E and all the other people on the server that are able to draw. I can scratch a picture that almost looks like the person I'm trying to draw in a way. But I draw like a build. It's messy, right? I don't have the perception that a true artist has. and the squirrel that E built in season 1.
The
Dragon.
The squirrel that she built in season 1. When I said to her, like, build something, and because she said she was bored, she was jumping around doing her E thing, going, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. And I said, build something. And she was like, what? And I said, build a dragon. And she walked over to a hillside and just started building a dragon. And I thought, how do you even see that dragon there before you start? That's not fair.
That's E, though.
I know, right? But that's that artistic perception that I just don't have. I can look at a picture of a house and say, well, there's shadow on the corner. Now let me put some deep slate there. Like, that's fine. But imagining something to a point where you can see it in a way that you can create it, that amazes me. I can sculpt a little bit. 3D modeling seems to be, whether in real life or in a game, seems to be my artistic outlet. So I definitely see Minecraft as artistic and the building as my artistic outlet.
I never really thought of Minecraft as an artistic outlet until I actually started playing it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see it that way until they start playing it.
Yeah. I think so.
Like to everybody else, to people who don't play, especially not as much as we do, they just see blocks on a screen. That's all they're seeing.
Yeah.
Like they just don't get it on the level that Minecrafters do, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Oh, there was a question that I wanted to be asked.
Okay.
Someone in the Discord. Oh, let me find it.
If you can remember the general gist of it, I can find it and ask it in full.
Yeah, it was the one about what mythology around Minecraft do you love? Like what
the
story
quirk,
or
maybe?
the quirk?
What's your favorite
was it.
Minecraft quirk?
That was
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can work that in. All right, I'm curious about this question from Purple Pineapple because I've never heard this one before. So, what is your favorite Minecraft quirk? They say in Sparkles, and why? So, like, the examples they give are like Jeb the sheep, the dinner bone name tag effect, Herobrine, which was removed. I think.
Yep.
Nobody knows, but we think.
Uh-huh.
I don't know too much about this, so yeah.
Okay, so Herobrine was removed is a whole mythology in Minecraft, right? It's this thing of that they had put this character in and then they took him out. And there are ghosts of him within the game. Oh. Now, I knew nothing about this lifeless Steve character that has no eyes that you occasionally see as you're walking through the forest. I didn't know that existed. The whole introduction to Eggberg as a character was invented because I came up with this great idea without ever hearing it, that I wanted this character that was going to appear in the background of my videos, never say anything. No one would even know, like, unless you paused the video or unless you were really watching intently, this thing wouldn't even exist. Of this guy who was standing there watching me. And he was never going to have a voice. He was never going to do anything. And then I thought, well, that's very un-Zinkbergy. So he would be a man that was a chicken man.
Yeah, there you go.
That sounds natural.
And he would be wearing a suit. Little did I know that I had stopped watching Hermitcraft in the season where Grian did the chicken man thing. So that was the initial creation of Eggberg was to do that. And then like it was going to be this thing and I was going to see him in the background of places and then I was going to have a dream where he was going to attack me. And then people could go back and look at the old videos and say, hey, he's in this video here. Look, he's in that video there, doing that sort of thing. And then someone said to me, what, like Herobrine? And I went, what's a Herobrine?
Oh.
And then I looked it up and I went, but it's already been done.
Nothing's
There's
original.
No point. So, so then Eggberg just became a voiced character and the rest is history to me. Yeah. So there you go. So that's my favorite Minecraft quirk.
I was curious if we were going to get into the Eggberg lore because I'd forgotten to ask, but I'm glad we did. I was curious.
And he was a chicken because I knew that I wanted. I knew
he
that
was
I
hungry
wanted
that
to,
day. That's what it was.
Yeah,
I was very, very hungry. I knew that I wanted to be able to have him upset at me for ruining his world. Right, that was the whole premise of why he was so evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through my first episode looking at which animals I saw in the first episode so that I could then claim one of them as this character that was going to be upset with me. And I walk across the water from where I ended up building my city. There was a chicken there in one of the bits of footage, and I thought chicken is perfect. That a chicken man is just so spot on.
I love
There
that.
you go.
That's so cool. I have so many follow-up questions, but we actually need to wrap it up. So I'm going to ask you our last question, Zinc. This has been a pleasure. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
You are a fascinating individual, and there's so much more I want to ask you, but we're gonna ask our last question, and maybe we'll have you on for a third part. We'll see.
There's no maybe. There'll be public demand. People will be screaming
all right,
from the rooftops.
Fair
Go
enough.
on. Anyway.
We'll prepare accordingly.
Yeah.
All right, Zinc. Is there anything you would like to tell our viewers? Advice, cries of shock, questions, concerned, anything like that you would like everyone to know about you or about themselves or about the game? Anything at all. You have the floor. What would you like to say?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay, great.
No,
well, thank
wait.
you all so much.
There's got to be. Wait, no, I was kidding. That's a really tough thing. That's a really hard thing to take on.
First thing that comes to mind, then.
I think I touched on it before. Hey, I think we live in a world that is extremely hard for young people. Okay, it in a way, this world that we have now is a lot harder than the world that I grew up in. Sure, the world I grew up in was every corner you turned was a potential punch in the face, and that was terrifying. But the emotional trauma that young people have to go through these days, the bullying that exists online, and the fact that you have to be online and be a presence and all the other things, that makes this world hard. And I think if you listen to people who are older from a different generation, if you can make yourself listen to their babble, there is some wisdom there to be had. They have experienced it before you. Listen to what your parents say, listen to what your grandparents say, listen to their stories, listen to people talk, and realize that as hard as your life is, the world is hard, life is hard. Pick yourself up and try and do something that makes you happy. Because you all deserve happiness and everybody deserves to be loved. Don't shy away from any of that. Grab life by the horns and wrestle it to the ground and do what you want to do and be happy with it. Because the world is a fantastic, happy place if you approach it with a fantastic and happy outlook. So that would be my, if I was given the floor. There you go.
I couldn't agree more. And it's actually been quite enjoyable listening to your babbling.
Thank you.
It has been.
Yeah.
Thank
Blaine
you.
and I were both
Now
looking
you
forward to
kids
this
get
one,
off
so-
my lawn.
Yeah, you're on our lawn. We built this pier.
Oh yeah, I put the flower down. It's my
That makes
flower.
it mine.
No, I'm telling you what, I'm taking my flower. I'm taking my flower with me. You can't have my... Oh no, I haven't got inventory space.
That's what the chest is for.
That's a Zinkism. I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate this has been a lot of fun for me. I've been smiling the whole way through and I've really enjoyed looking inwardly as well as listening to what you guys say. It has been a lot of fun and this is fantastic. It's really good. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did a conversation. Woo.
Yay.
Thank you.
No, I
Thank you
enjoyed
for
I
spending
enjoyed this a
time.
lot. This is so much
Yeah,
fun.
this has been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Thank you, Zinc.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you.
Don't forget to subscribe to Lane and Izzy.
Nah, I'm good.
Yes,
Go
yes,
subscribe to
like I
Zinc instead. I'm good.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. Subscribe to me.
We'll take the subs and the watch hours, please.
Please, the watch hours, yes. Every time, yeah, there you go. Every time someone watches my video, when you get that urge to stop watching it, can you just hang on an extra 10 seconds, 15 seconds?
Oh my gosh.
Because, because it really counts. just breathe, count to 10, then log off, and it's fine.
We
Love
appreciate
everybody.
it.
Please.
Yeah. Appreciate
Love
you
you
all.
all, everybody.
Appreciate you, Zinc. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.